Hello everyone, my name's Oliver G. You're listening to the Eiffel Tower podcast, a show where every week I try and take you through Paris, show you an interesting character, show you an interesting part of the city. This week, absolutely no different. We've got a good one this week. It's Marie from My Private Paris. She's a tour guide. She said to me she knows this city inside out, upside down, back to front. She said that she knows every single cobblestone of the city, but when I asked her about her favorite arrondissement, she said number 5, which is fortunate because that's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, what we're going to be doing is talking about 5 things to find in the 5th arrondissement, according to Marie, a French tour guide, a Parisian tour guide, who used to study there at the Sorbonne. We talk about all that, but first a little word from the sponsor, which is incidentally My Private Paris. If you're new around here, if you're brand new, you won't know anything that's going on. Let me just explain it. This season, the 20 episodes, there might be a few bonuses. Like Friday, we had the Seine River with Elaine Chilino. There might be a few bonuses, but let's say 20 for now. I'm going through every arrondissement, 1 to 20, with some kind of expert on each of those districts, talking about it. So you heard in recent weeks we had the Picasso Museum curator in the 3rd, we had the mayor of the 4th, and this season is sponsored by My Private Paris. They'll be on at the end of every episode. You guys who listen regularly will have heard Bertrand already. He's the brains of the company, but today you're going to meet the heart of the company. That's not my words, that's Marie's words. You're going to hear her say it in just a second. But My Private Paris, what is it? It's like a boutique tour agency. They will give you custom itineraries. They'll help you out. They'll show you Paris like you've never seen it. And I haven't really talked about them so much yet, sort of what they'll do for you. But if you go on their website, myprivateparis.com, one of the first things that pops up is that you can request a custom itinerary. You can click through it. They'll take the hassle out of the trip. So, for example, they'll say, what museums do you want to see? Or do you want to do some day tours? That kind of stuff. You click all the way through it, and you customize your travel experience. Why would you want a headache? Come to Paris and have some fun. Anyway, check them out. Let them know that you found them through the Eiffel Tower. It's myprivateparis.com. Check them out today. If you're not very good at remembering websites, go on the eiffeltower.com/tours. I embedded it all there too. You'll be able to find it on the website. Easy to find. That's the sponsor of this season, My Private Paris, and you're about to hear the voice of Marie. Hang around at the very end where I'm going to read out a little bit of Gmail, emails that have come in from you guys at home, and I'm also going to give you an update on the book tour. It's not just the American book tour anymore. It's the North American book tour. Yes, that's right. It looks like we're going to Toronto, and I'm as surprised as you are. More on that at the end of the episode. But now, I want you to join me for a walk in the 5th arrondissement, the left bank. Yes, we've crossed the river. We're into the left bank, and we're about to go for an explore. Let's do it. Marie.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. This is exciting. You're from the same company as Bertrand.
Yes.
But you're the other half of the brains behind the company, is that right?
Yeah, I'm the heart of it.
You're the heart. What does that make him? What is he?
He's the brain and I'm the heart.
Oh, that sounds like a good match.
Yes.
But you're here for the next couple of episodes talking, well, today you're talking about the 5th arrondissement.
Yes.
Which you claim to love.
Oh, yes. I actually study there. I live there. So it's, to me, one of the best arrondissements in Paris.
All right.
It's all about literature, really, and poetry.
Is that what you studied?
Yeah, I'm studied in La Sorbonne.
Okay.
You probably know about it.
I know about it, but I think there's a lot of listeners to this show who, when you say Sorbonne, they don't know anything about it. But this is an institution, right? What's the deal with that place?
So it's the oldest university in Europe. So
in Europe?
Yes. So it was founded in 1253. So that's quite a long time ago.
Wow.
And it's still very beautiful. I mean, the rooms there are just amazing. Yeah.
Do they, like movies in England, like Harry Potter and stuff?
Yes.
Do they film things in the Sorbonne similar in France?
No, unfortunately, no, they didn't. But just aside, on Musée de Cluny, there is some things that inspired J.K. Rowling. So
really?
Yeah.
Like what?
There is this stone of Nicolas Flamel. It's an alchemist.
Yeah.
So there is this tombstone in the museum.
I've read Harry Potter, and I feel like there's quite a bit of French influence there, like Voldemort.
Yes,
that sounds French, right?
Yeah, that would be the worst. But yeah, you're right.
What do French people think about Voldemort? As in the word, because you'd be called something different in French, right?
No, it's the same. Voldemort. It's the same thing. But we are not supposed to say its name.
Oh, yeah. Rule number 1 from Harry Potter, I've already broken. Okay. Whoa, I've got sidetracked. So Sorbonne is where you studied.
Yeah.
You like literature then?
Of course, yes.
Cool, we can talk about that in the weeks to come, even today.
Yes.
But before we get to literature and the sort of secret and places to visit you've mentioned, I wonder if you could do us all a favor and sort of summarize the 5th arrondissement in what do we need to know about this place?
Of course. So the first thing you have to know about this place is it's a hill. It's La Montagne Sainte-Geneviève. And on top of the hill, you have the beautiful Panthéon. So you can see the 5th arrondissement from all over Paris. It started with the Romans coming. They decided to be on this side of the Seine so that they could actually look around and have the best view on the Seine River and on the Parisian. And so they started to construct their forum and their bath, arenas also. And little by little, this place became the place for the elite. So we had the universities coming, and teachers also started to come from all over Europe. Then follow the writers, the poets like Dante from Italy. And now it's known to be the place for students in Paris. So it's the place for having fun and having cheap beers at night and just,
Do you think that's kind of weird that it used to be... I mean, when I think of the 5th, I still think it's sort of expensive and kind of... like the kind of person that would live in the 5th, I feel like they're probably wealthier than the kind of person that lives in the 11th. Fair?
Yeah. I mean, of course, you have some families that are there since a long time. And yes, of course, it is pretty expensive. But at the same time, you have this student and bohemian kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's a good mix.
Do you think there's ever going to be a time when the 5th is kind of like the down and out horrible part of Paris? Or do you think it's pretty solid now?
I mean, it depends. Like when I lived there, I was feeling like, you had... less life, like in Le Marais, for example, or other places like that. So yes, it's getting probably older and more boring than before. Yes, probably.
That's a bit sad.
Yeah.
Is that why you moved out of the 5th?
Probably.
Let's talk. I'll give you a choice now.
Yes.
Do you want to get into your 5 tips for the 5th arrondissement first?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't even hear the second part of the chat.
I mean, okay, let's hear that.
I said the other thing is, and maybe we should actually, is talk a little bit more about you.
Oh.
Because people maybe want to know who they're listening to.
Okay.
You're a tour guide.
Yes.
The heart of My Private Paris with Bertrand, sponsoring this season of the show. I know that your favorite place to tour is in the Marais. Mm-hmm. But in the 5th, where's your favorite place to show people?
Okay, so because I'm a big fan of literature, I would say probably old library, and we have a lot of that in the 5th. Right. But also there's this little place, Place Descartes, where I'm always getting there because one of my friends has a restaurant there, and I just love to have my coffee and just watching people from there, from this little Place Descartes.
Place Descartes.
Yes, just by École Polytechnique.
Okay, we got to write this down. I'll write this in the show notes. But is it Cartes?
It's Descartes, like
Place Descartes.
Yes, Descartes.
I thought you
like
meant Place
Descartes. No.
Okay. Was he also living in the 5th arrondissement?
Exactly. Yes.
Thinking and being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds typical of this guy. Okay. Cool. We're going to look that up on the map and share your favorite coffee spot so that all the listeners in the Eiffel Tower will be in there with you in the future. Okay. Let's have one more question with you. Why did you want to be a tour guide?
That's a very good question. I think I wanted to travel in my own city. I wanted to share with people about everything I love, and I wanted to meet new people all the time. And that's exactly what's going on when you're a tour guide.
Do you feel like a lot of Parisians don't know their city?
Yes, I mean, I did. I didn't. Yeah. Before being a tour guide, I was the same as anyone, taking the metro, getting there, eventually going to a museum. But now I love my city because I know it better.
Interesting. What changed? What was the turning point?
I think when I look up at the Eiffel Tower and with someone on my side that never actually looked at the Eiffel Tower before, and they were such emotion in their face and saying, wow, this is incredible. I wanted to see that. All my life I was waiting for seeing that. And for me, it was like the thing I was seeing every day when I was little.
Taking it for granted.
So yeah, exactly. So when I saw the emotion on this woman's face, I was like, okay, now I understand how Paris is so beautiful. Yeah.
That's interesting. I was talking to I once took a taxi a taxi to the airport, and there was the driver. We passed the Eiffel Tower. We were talking about the Eiffel Tower, and I asked him. He was a local. I said, "Have you ever gone up to the top?" He said, "Nah, never been at the top. Don't care." And I said, I was sort of having fun chat with him. But I said, "Would you ever?" He said, "No, I got no intention of doing it." And I said, "What if I got free tickets, 2 free tickets, skipped the line straight to the top?" He said, "No, I don't think I'd do it." And I thought it was crazy. But then I think that's exactly what you say. A lot of people just have this mentality of, it'll always be there, or it's just a backdrop for me.
Yes, but like Notre Dame, so many of my friends actually never went inside the cathedral.
Wow.
And now they kind of regret it, of course.
Yeah.
But,
Don't wait, everybody. But everyone listening to this show already knows to go into everything in Paris. But that's a good, Notre Dame's not in the 5th, but that's a good segue into the 5th. We've got a list here of 5 things that you say they're not necessarily the typical tourist stops, but they're worth seeing. And I'm interested by number 1 on the list because I've written in big letters, Philippe Auguste.
So yeah, you're a fan of Philippe Auguste, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Okay, so it's true that you can find pieces of this wall all around Paris, right? So this wall from the 12th century. There is one big piece of the wall, a tower actually, that is on Rue Clovis. Rue Clovis being not far from the Pantheon and very close to where Hemingway used to live, actually. Right. So you can.
I saw your eyes light up when you said Hemingway. Then you're obviously a fan.
I'm a big fan, but
we'll save that for another episode. I think that's cool. But okay, so there's I didn't know there was a tower there.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Like hidden behind the?
It's really in the street where you have nothing to see except on this wall. So it's just, you go down from the Pantheon to Cardinal Lemoine and you will just see it, and it's there, and it's just so massive. So it's interesting because every time you go behind or just seeing the wall, you just realize how Paris was tiny, at this time.
Yeah.
And so it's always like, passing a invisible frontier or something. So there's something magical about it.
I think the same thing. Whenever I walk, on the right bank by the basketball courts near the St. Paul Cathedral, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not a cathedral, it's an église, right?
Oui.
So as you walk past where that basketball court is, I'm like, and we just stepped outside of Paris, even though you're so central, I think it's great. But I didn't know there's a tower. I'm thinking when you say Rue Clovis, I thought it's just a big bit of the wall that's sticking out.
Yeah, but it's pretty tall. So it used to be a tower, but it's now destroyed. So it's not as beautiful as a tower you think about in Le Marais.
Interesting.
It's not like that. It's not a proper tower, but it's pretty big.
So that's a chunk of the tower. That's good to know. That's kind of the most striking part of that wall. And by the way, if you guys are new to the show, you got a lot of catching up to do. But we're talking about the wall that used to go all the way around Paris 800 years ago, and you can still find traces of it swallowed up into the city. But that's a good picture, that one too. I love that place. So I'm going to share that. Thanks for agreeing to include that. But the rest, you've told me here that this church, I've written church/midnight in Paris. You'll have to explain yourself there.
Okay, so have you seen the movie?
Midnight in Paris, absolutely.
Okay, so
Owen Wilson, totally. Wow, wow. Of course I've seen it.
So in the movie, there is this moment where he's waiting for this car to pick him up at midnight, and he's staying on those steps, and it's. In the movie, you don't really know where they are. It's pretty blurry, let's say. But when you know where they are, people are just amazed that, that's the spot.
The specific steps.
Yeah. And this is the specific steps of Saint-Étienne-du-Mont. Saint-Étienne-du-Mont Church, which is on the top of the hill, Montagne Sainte-Geneviève. And it's true, it's very typically 5th arrondissement when you're there. When you're just sitting on those steps and you see these streets going up, you can imagine that you can go through time very easily. So I understand why Woody Allen chose those steps. But when you enter in the church, there you have the real magic, because it's the only church in France where you still have this beautiful jubé. It's a part of stone that was dividing the rich aristocrats from the crowd. And during the Revolution, most of it just was destroyed because, of course, it was a very big symbol of separation, of people. But it's just a magnific stonework. I'm
trying to picture this stonework. Do you mean it's
you have to see it. It's like a massive balcony all around the choir, and but you have to see it. I mean, it's almost impossible to describe it.
Really?
Because it's so creative. Also, you have so much decoration. So
what's it called? Jubé.
It's jubé. Yes.
How do you spell that?
So Jube.
Like J-U-B. Juby.
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 Yes, I know but it's a word that people don't know because things disappear. But you have other things that are hidden in this church. So you have the tomb of Sainte Geneviève, which is our patron saint of Paris. She is the one who protects Paris against Attila the Hun. I don't know if you heard the story about how barbarian Attila was coming, and she say, "I'm going to protect Parisian, praying and all of that."
Really?
And so so she's.
So we can thank her for everything.
Oh yeah. Whenever something is going on in Paris and we are saved, for example, the fire in Notre Dame or things like that, people are always thinking about Sainte Geneviève.
Really?
Yes.
Do they write it in like the papers and stuff? Like, I mean, is there like a saying that goes with it? Like, you know how in English you say, "Oh, we can thank our lucky stars that blah blah blah."
I don't know if there is one saying for Sainte Geneviève.
Or is this just a tour guide thing?
No. I'm serious. I mean, there is this huge statue of her on the bridge Pont de la Tournelle. Do you see this like a rocket? You know,
the big
huge statue.
You mean the one that looks like the Lord of the Rings one?
Yeah.
That's so weird because that was mentioned in last week's episode as well.
Really?
Yeah, how cool.
Okay, so now you know.
Yeah, now I know for sure, I think. Yeah, okay. So so there's a statue of her in the church as well? Or?
No, not a statue, but her tomb, the grave is there. And another thing, if you go through the church, you have this tiny room at the very back of it. And if you go there, you have some windows. And one of them is really strange. It's representing the Noah Ark with all the animals. And there is a unicorn on the boat.
Just one unicorn?
Just one unicorn.
Is that why they didn't survive?
Maybe. But that's very intriguing. So you have things like that are kind of fun.
This could be a whole episode in itself. But we'll have, just so anyone listening who's trying to remember the spelling or anything, I'm going to put all these in a list on theeiffeltower.com, but surely you knew that already. Now let's continue. I've got 3 more here. You've written, and I'm going to do a full disclosure to everyone at home. When we do these kind of list episodes, the guest and I, in this case Marie, we discuss it first so I have an idea of what's coming up. And when she said this one, I had no idea what she's talking about, and she was outraged. So I said, let's hold this, and you can explain it to me now. The best cheese shop, Laurent Dubois.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
Oh my God. If you have one thing to try in Paris.
Is it that good?
Yes, it's of course. Okay, so the guy is, Laurent Dubois, Monsieur Laurent Dubois, is meilleur ouvrier de France. So this is a special distinction when you're very good at what you're doing, when you're working as a chocolate maker or in this case, in cheese making. Yes. So he got that in 2000. So he is the best cheese provider, let's say, of Paris, and I'm not inventing it.
And you're not married to him or something, are you?
I wish. Not because he's good looking or anything. I mean, he's very, he's probably handsome, but it just his cheese is fabulous.
Really?
Yes, it's nothing to compare to any other cheese.
So this MOF thing, I've heard about it before. Yes. It says it on their door of like chocolate shops and stuff too. But does that mean there can only be one? There's only one MOF?
No, there is. It's a contest every year, right. And so there is one each year on each domain. Okay. Yes, yeah. But it's not really the question of being just the only one. It's just when you have this distinction, it's for life. So you are a MOF, so MOF, yes, really for the entire life.
Like becoming a sir in England or something.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Somehow it's an homage to your work.
And it's French and it's food, so it's probably taken very seriously here, I can imagine.
Of course.
So he's a MOF.
Is a MOF.
Wow.
And so his shop on the Place Maubert is pretty known because this is a beautiful food place also. The Place Maubert is known for food markets that happen 3 times a week.
Is that at the bottom of the hill?
It's on the bottom of the hill,
okay.
Exactly, yes.
The far side of sort of Hemingway's old place, right? You go down.
You go down. And on this place it's pretty fun because you have the entire French meal just in one line. You start with some vegetable, then you have the deli meat, then the rôtisserie, then the cheese, then the wine, then the bread, then the cafe. And all of that is only one line, only in one place.
But when you say, this is something I've not reached in my French life yet, the ability to have a full meal at a French market, right? I still get a little bit nervous. But do you, like, when you go and you buy that stuff, do you eat it as you go?
I mean, for the cheese?
Yeah.
I'm doing that twice. So first I'm testing in the shop, then I'm buying some for home.
Wow.
But yeah, of course.
Okay, I need to stick on this cheese for a second because I'm quite fascinated. Why is this cheese so good? Yeah, and would you still say it was so good, or did you know that he was a moth and you were like,
No. Okay, so well, it's hard because cheese is kind of my life, you know. Okay, so let's say
you know what? You know what? Bertrand said the same thing to me.
Really?
Because I've got this.
He's lying.
Okay,
I'm the cheese.
So I was talking to before on the Patreon support of this show, the members.
Mm-hmm.
I've been planning to have the world's first international interactive live cheese tasting. Right? So at a certain... You look really skeptical of me. The idea is at a certain...
No, I want to participate.
Well,
what are you talking about?
Maybe you should... maybe you can kick Bertrand out. So the idea is all the members at home or in Paris are going to get in front of their computer screen at, I don't know, I haven't picked the time yet, 7 p.m. on Sunday night, wherever that is in the world. And then I'm going to have already sent out a list of these cheeses. And they're going to have bought them. And maybe wines and biscuits or breads or whatever goes with it. And then I'm going to sit with someone, maybe you're going to be there as well, and we're going to eat them and explain what you should be looking for or what goes well with it. And people around the world will be going, hey, I'm Julie in California. Is it right that I'm tasting this? And we'll go, hey, Julie, yes, that's exactly, you know.
Oh, I love it.
You want to be part of it?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can tell Bertrand.
No, I mean, I can do, my home part as well. But no, that would be great. Okay, so let me tell you why is it so good. First is going to select this cheese all over France by himself or with, some helpers. So they go to this tiny producer and they get the best cheese out of them. Then they also have caves where they're aging the cheese in Paris. Yeah. So they continue selecting
in the catacombs.
The cheese catacombs. and then he's also making some creative cheese, let's say. So, for example, he's taking camembert, slicing in two, just putting some apple in it, like caramelized apple, and those kind of like.
Okay, and now tell me the number one thing I should get if I go there with just €5 in my pocket.
€5?
15.
Okay, 15. Okay, get the Brillat Savarin with truffle. Brillat Savarin. I know it's a long name.
It's hard to pronounce.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Okay.
Or the Comté. Easy to pronounce and amazing.
Easy to eat.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Take the oldest one, though.
Okay, interesting. Okay, this is great. I'm going to have all these with pictures and everything's on the site. I got 2 more here with a theme by the looks of it. The view from the Arab Institute.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been in there.
Okay, so first, the building itself is interesting because when you think about the Fifth, you think about all stones, you think about Panthéon, cobblestones all over. And suddenly you have this very modern building with this facade that is almost like a technological or something. You can go straight into the building, not paying any entrance, just going straight to the roof. And there you have the most amazing view on Notre Dame, on the Seine River.
Yeah, cool.
You also have beehives that you cannot really touch or anything, but they're here, and it's just so quiet, and no one is telling you nothing. You can stay here for all day if you want.
Is there a cafe or something up there?
And there is a cafe. It's a Lebanese food cafe, so yeah, you could do that.
That's interesting. I love, I find that I've seen the building, and I think someone's recommended it to me before, but I find it kind of imposing. Like with a big new building, I feel. I know there's not like a ticket office out the front, so you kind of have to feel like you're pushing your way in there a little bit. But is it quite easy to get into? Or?
Yeah, you have to act French. No. I mean, there is no. They really let everyone, getting in and doing. Also because you have a library, so you have many things in that building, not just the museum. But it's true. I'm the same. I mean, the first time I went through directly, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can or not. But yeah, they don't mind. You can just go straight, take the elevator.
Cool.
And you're there.
I've got really good at walking into courtyards. Are you good at that? You got any tips?
Again, you have to pretend you live there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
I think also I think it's Saturday. There's a time when it feels like they're all open as well.
The courtyards?
Yeah. Maybe that's just something in the area that I live.
Maybe.
Like they're waiting for deliveries or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, and I've walked around sometimes. I'm just like, wow, everything's open to me. It's amazing. The amount of stuff you can steal, it's amazing. I'm just kidding, of course. The last thing on your list, I said there was a theme, tea at the mosque. I've never been in there either.
No? Okay, so you maybe see the Jardin des Plantes,
yes.
And if you don't, just go there. Yeah,
that's
beautiful.
Worth a visit too?
Yeah, it's beautiful. You have species of trees that were planted there in 150 years ago. So the Jardin des Plantes itself is beautiful. And just behind that, you have these very exotic place because you feel you're not in Paris but in Morocco for just a few minutes. You know, you're in this tiny courtyard and you have little fountains and trees and birds all over. And the birds are here for a reason, is because when you get a tea from there, a mint tea, you have also some beautiful biscuits,
right.
you know, with almonds and honey and all of that. So the birds, of course, they know, so they will get probably a biscuit directly from your plate.
Smart birds.
Oh yeah, they're all over.
Hang on, but are they kind of annoying birds? Like
No, sparrows, like tiny sparrows, very
Okay.
cute ones.
Yeah.
It just, they know how to get their crumbs.
Smart birds.
Yeah.
So mint tea in the mosque, and that once again you can just walk in. Anyone can walk in.
Oh yeah, of course, and it's pretty big. So the people they have in mind the courtyard because it's of course very beautiful, but it's quite tiny. If you want, you can just go inside the building, and there it's massive. You can be like 20, 30 people at the same time. There is always a seat available, and it's very affordable as well.
I was going to ask you, what does a mint tea cost in a Paris mosque?
I don't remember, but maybe 2-3 euros max. So
that's a good price.
Yeah, very.
Okay, and that's I've seen the building from the outside. It looks like a pretty stunning building. The Grand Mosque, it's called, right? The
Yes.
Grand Mosque.
Yeah, la Grande Mosquée.
Grand Mosque.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's five good tips. There's a few other things I want to. That's going to be the bulk of the article, but there are some other things I want to touch on before time slips away. And the main one of that was the Arène de Lutèce.
Oh yes.
Now we started talking about the Roman influence, or how Romans started Paris essentially on the left bank.
Yes.
Well, just over from the islands. What's the deal with this arena, and is it actually worth visiting?
Oh yes, it's probably gonna I don't know. It's 10 minutes of your life. I mean, it's not like you have a lot to explore, but it is very impressive. And again, you don't feel like you're in Paris anymore. You feel like suddenly you're in Rome.
But if people are imagining out in listener land the Colosseum in Rome, they're going to be disappointed.
Okay, so imagine that another way. Let's say that you're on Rue Monge and you're just passing this door, and suddenly you're in this open space, like a mini stadium, really. It's not as big as the Colosseum, but it's still worth to have a look at. And for me, the best experience I had in that is I was attending the Fireman Ball on the 14th of July.
So they have,
It was in there, and so it was open air, and just that was the best party ever.
Those firemen, the balls, the balles de pompiers, they're quite wild, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on.
I've been to one in the 4th arrondissement, and it was insane. Like that was like a rave. It was like something from a movie or something.
Pretty intense. It could be very intense.
Wow! So you went in there for what? They had music and everything.
Yeah,
in the
the firemen were hosting the party, and yes, they were putting a DJ. And
I want to talk about those firemen for a sec. They're like famous in Paris. Like people love them, right?
Yeah, it's a special unit. They call sapeurs-pompiers de Paris. So it's they're very important for us, and especially, I mean, of course, with what happened with Notre Dame, we feel like the firemen are part of the community of Paris, and so we always very nice or very friendly to them. And it's true that with these balls every year in July, people are just thinking like they are the best, good-looking firemen of the France, of course.
Right. Well, there is a thing that they put out. Often they put out kind of sexy calendars with
sexy calendars,
and that's to raise money for their
for the firemen
for
family.
the parties that they throw every year.
Also yes. Yeah. But there is also when you're Parisian, you also give your friends some tips about where the firemen are practicing or training and running.
Right.
For example, in the Luxembourg Garden,
Yeah.
You can give your friend like the tip of the time they're gonna actually go.
You mean
around.
you text your girlfriends
like
and go,
they're running right now. They'll just come and
because
watch.
they run in really short shorts, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this part of Paris, but I tell you what, I do know what to make of. The 5th arrondissement sounds like a wonderful place.
Yes.
I think we've gone through all the tips that we have on the list. All of them are going to be on the EiffelTower.com. If you guys at home want to book a tour with My Private Paris, there's links everywhere down below. Otherwise, go on myprivateparis.com. But what, may I ask you, Marie, are you going to be bringing next week when we talk about the 6th arrondissement?
What am I going to bring?
Well, what are you going to talk about? Are you going to bring something?
I don't know.
That's something we haven't talked about. Bertrand brought in all the food. Did you bring in anything?
I did bring some books, sorry.
Goodness me. What about stories then? What can we look forward to?
So what is great about the Six is the jazz and the rebel artists and the movement. And so I think we're going to have fun.
Okay,
we're going to actually talk about that.
Are you going to bring in your trombone or?
Oh, I wish. Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, thanks for coming into the studio and I'll see you next week.
Okay, see you.
So there you have it. That was Marie. She'll be back again talking about the 6th arrondissement at the end of next week's episode, which, spoiler alert, will be with Laurel and Kaisa from Très au Jardin. It's an amazing cafe just near the Luxembourg Gardens. I will be talking with them next week. Check it out. But let's rewind now. I want to talk about the book tour. So if you don't know what I'm talking about here, I wrote a book called Paris on Air. It's a memoir. And the Kickstarter that I used to raise the funds for the publishing of it, I'm self-publishing it, that was pretty successful. There were almost 500 people that pre-ordered a copy, and what that meant was that I was able to do a book tour out of it. And I've already booked, I don't think I've said this on the show yet, I've booked the tickets over to America, Seattle. May 1st, I'll be flying into Seattle. First event, May 3rd, at the Barrel Thief. All this is going to be on the site. It's going to be easy to find as it all progresses. But I'm in the process now of sort of planning out the tour with my wife, Lena. And it's quite hard. Harder than I would have thought to find venues, to find places to drive, like the directions to go even. And essentially how to get from Seattle to Miami without missing any of the good stuff. It's pretty impossible, is what I'd say. But I'm doing my best, and the calendar's starting to fill up. But what I thought is I'd read out a fun email I got earlier in January, and the subject was America Book Tour, with America was in inverted commas there, and it said, this is from Rob Hall. He says, "Oh, Oliver, Rob Hall here. A long-time Toronto listener, a part-time Paris flaneur since Season 1, the Crocodile episode, and a recent Patreon supporter. Favorite Christmas present." Hey, thanks, Rob. Christmas present, huh? Hey, the Crocodile episode, that goes way back. I think that was the Season 1 finale. That's going to be in the book. Anyway, so pleased with your success with the podcast and the new book, says Rob. Now to my disappointment. Here we go. Typical email into the Eiffel Tower. Starts with some compliments and then straight into the disappointment. Where are you going with this one, Rob? He says, the Americas includes Canada. After Australia, we're the second most travelled nation in the world. While our southern neighbours are bigger and brasher, we're more like home for you, friendly and fun. Here's my suggestion. By all means visit Chicago, which I am definitely doing, at the offshore rooftop bar. Guinness Book of Records, Guinness Book of Records biggest rooftop bar in the world. So he says, by all means, visit Chicago, then head east to Detroit and see its amazing Renaissance. Head down the 401 to the home of the Raptors. Yes, Toronto did win, he says, referring to the NBA Finals. We can promise you a theatre venue with an attached French bistro. And he continues on some of the other things I can see in Toronto there. We'd love to host you and Lena in the Great White North. How about it, eh? How about it, eh? That's how he ends it. How about it, eh? Sante, Rob Hall. So I said, well, I actually responded to Rob and I said, look, I just looked at the Kickstarter and it seems I sold 11 books to the whole of Canada. I'm not sure that if we take such a detour that anyone will really come. He said, don't you worry about that. I'll make sure we get a crowd. We're going to fill this theatre venue. Let's do it. Are you in? I said, sure, let's do it. And then I had the pleasure of meeting Rob and his lovely wife for had a dinner on the left bank. We went through the plan. Sounds amazing. So it's going to happen. This book tour is going to Canada as well, which is just as crazy for me as it might sound for you. If you're in Toronto, keep your ears out because that should be somewhere, and no date's confirmed yet, but it should be at the end of May, I think. Anyway, I just wanted to say sort of a big thank you to everyone who's sent in emails with plans or offers or venues. It's pretty much filled up. I'll put out a webpage soon with all the information and the holes that we haven't filled yet, but keep an eye on that. The tour is happening. Early May to mid-June. It'll probably be passing near you. If you're in Australia or another country, the news is good too. I'll be coming to you afterwards at some point, unconfirmed. We're going to focus on the US first, But yeah, that's where we're at, and I'm very excited about it. So that's something to look forward to. The book has been sent off to the printers. It's all happening now, and it's getting very exciting. And I look forward to talking to you about it a little bit more in the coming weeks. But that's enough for today's episode. I'll chat to you all again next week from the 6th arrondissement, and then the 7th, and then the 8th, and I think you get the picture from there. Thanks for listening. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon. Au revoir.